Thank you.
Mr. Aderholt.
Mr. Bolden, thank you, Mr. Administrator. Thank you for your service. And as has already been said by several members on the this subcommittee, you have a fine reputation, and everyone agrees that you're certainly someone that people hold in very high regard. I know sometimes we may disagree with some of the things, so don't take any of this personally. It's all we just sometimes have different opinions on some of these issues. There is a strong reason to question the dollar figures that was produced by the Augustine Commission. Can you provide the committee the Ares 1 and the Ares 5 cost estimate NASA had last spring, and also they had estimated last spring, and also provide the committee with a written detailed explanation from NASA as to how operating Ares 1 would cost $4 billion a year?
So I can provide that for the record. I'll be glad to do that.
And the reason I mentioned that was because the my staff was given the numbers of Ares 1, the operation cost at $1.3 billion.
That's per flight.
Okay, so you're saying
I do know that the 1.3, 1.6 billion, and when I talk about things that shocked me, because I wanted to use an Ares type vehicle as a test vehicle, and when I asked the question, how much would it cost me to fly, not an Ares 1, but that kind of vehicle, then the number given me at the time was $1.6 billion per flight. And I mean, it seems like an extreme number to me, and I'm still looking. So I will be glad to provide you with the information that, the basis for that number.
Well, the reason I say that is because this is the response from NASA, and it says total cost for 3 flights in a year is $1.1 billion.
I'll go back and double check my numbers and then get back to you for the records.
If you could, give us some explanation on that, because there is some big difference in the amount of money that's in there. It's been rumored that NASA is about to send the prime contractors of the Constellation program letters which remind them of the Anti-Deficiency Act and telling them that NASA is under no obligation to cover termination costs beyond appropriated funds. I just wanted to, is that correct, or?
Congressman, I think most of the contractors are fully aware of what's in their contract, and they realize that they're obligated by their contract to reserve funds that would be needed for termination liability. One of the things that I have asked be done is that we go out and get estimates from the contractors as to what their estimate on termination liability will be, and then that'll determine what type of action that we take. But to my knowledge, I don't think we've seen more than a couple of the contractors that have said they have a significant problem. And in that case, it may be necessary for us to have the contracting officers talk with them about their obligation under the contract as opposed to ours.
So you're saying there's no letters about to go out like that?
There probably are letters going out to some of the contractors who say that they thought it was our responsibility. There probably are.
Oh, was this the direction OMB?
No, sir. That was my direction, because I have a fiduciary response. I have a legal under the Anti-Deficiency Act. I hope I'm wrong, but I am legally liable if I allow a company to spend more than I have to pay them. I go to jail. And so I am very serious about wanting to be around for my 3 granddaughters. And so on advice of counsel, it was felt that we should at least remind people of what's in their contract. And you would think that that would not be necessary, but in some cases it may be necessary.
Certainly I can appreciate the going to jail aspect of that. So what do you think the contractors will do in response?
So that I don't even want to conjecture on that, but I hope that they will take it as responsible direction.
Is there similar letters that are going out to contractors about the shuttle program?
To my knowledge, we have no letters that are going to any of the shuttle contractors because, as I mentioned before, we have been going through, we have a very well-developed transition plan for shuttle that covers termination cost and everything. That's pretty well known. So I will get back to you if I find that I'm incorrect, but
regarding the shuttle?
I think shuttle is in pretty good shape in terms of termination.
Okay, if you get back on that, that'd be great.
And it's not, I don't even know if it's terminate. I'll get back to you because I don't think it's termination in the case of shuttle. That was an orderly phase out from 2004 to 2010, agreed upon by everyone. So I will get back to you to make sure that I'm not giving you misinformation, but I'm certain that's not a termination activity, so we don't run into the same problem.
The Anti-Deficiency Act and its predecessor statutes have been in existence for about 120 years. Do you know how many people have been prosecuted under it?
Sir, I do not, but I was told that there have been some, and that if I did not want to be among the few, then I should take it seriously. I can find out for you, sir, and I'll make.
Well, we're told that there's none that have been
under Anti-Deficiency Act.
That's what we've been told. Now, again, we'll maybe need to check the record on that. That's according to a book, the Anti-Deficiency Act answer book that was published back in 2009. That stated that was a book by William G. Arnold, but again, that's.
If that's the case, there are two of us I know in NASA who would be. Although, as Congressman Wolf mentioned, we could be the first. But Doug Cook, my Exploration Systems Mission Director at AA, and me, we would be very relieved to find that nobody uses that act. But I do know it's been around since the. I am told that it's been around.
Yeah, well, we'll certainly need to verify that. Of course, like I said, this was something that was written, and of course, as you know, anything that's published is not always true. But yes, we certainly, Congress has not specifically told NASA not to terminate those programs, and yet in the case of Constellation, you can hardly be blamed for the Anti-Deficiency Act's action, since Congress has specifically told you not to terminate these programs. The rumor was that the head of contracting at NASA was in the process of explicitly inserting a clause in the Constellation contract to advise the contractors that NASA would cover termination cost, but was told to stop last fall. Is there any validity to that?
Sir, I will have to get back to you on that. I do not know the answer to that.
But you could check that and let me know.
I can check and find out.
Okay.
And so I make sure that I understand the question. Did the contract manager, did the COTAR issue a letter advising them?
Explicitly inserting a clause in the Constellation contracts by the contractors that NASA would cover contract termination cost, but was told to stop.
I will get back and get that information for the record.
Okay. We've heard a lot about inflated numbers about how much it will cost to complete the Constellation program, including the heavy lift of Ares 5, which I mentioned. My understanding is that NASA's estimate in the spring of last year for developing Ares 5 was that by 2020. Through the first flight of Ares 5, the cost of development plus production costs would be $16.5 billion. If Ares 1 is not completed, which means we could not benefit from the way the two programs were designed to use some of the same technology, then the fact would result in a cost of Ares 5 of about $27 billion. Our staff were told last Friday by the CFO that the cost of developing a heavy lift rocket would be $30 to $50 billion. What engineering data have you obtained since the spring of '09, which leads to the incredibly inflated figure of $50 billion?
Congressman, I'll have to get that to you for entry into the record. I was not aware of that figure.
Okay. That's all I have right now.